So tumesema tunatumia goal seek analysis and this is a small prediction of the PNL. You are going to use the goal seek. So in a scenario question are sensitivities, you will be given the assumption of certain parameters. So here we have the revenue or the unit sold, the price per unit, the cost per unit, SGA, and the tax rate. So we have been told now we need to give a small P&L here. So how will we extract this small P&L? We will take the unit equals this. That is the unit sold. We multiply by the price per unit, which is 5. And then to get, that could be our total value of the revenue. That could be the total value of the revenue. And that we also need to compute the cost of sales, which is equals to the unit times the cost per unit, which you will get this, but this one you need to put this one as a negative because this is the cost. So change that to C, negative C7, put the value, and then alt to add the 2. So you can get the gross profit of 11,250, which this 11,250 also will come here and equate with SGA. So once we have the SGA there, this SGA also should be negative. This SGA also should be negative. It should be negative because the reason is we have the reason is that it is the expenditure. So we have to put there as a negative because it is expenditure. So we'll change this one to be a negative. Enter. So it is a negative. Now we can have the total earning before tax, or what is called the EBIT. So get the sum of the two, which is this one. Enter. So we can ignore this. And let's give a tax, the tax rate. We have already have the tax rate, so we can the tax rate is 30%. But sometime, if this one is a negative, remember we don't pay tax on a negative. We don't pay tax on a negative, so we'll say equals. We will use the function which we have learned earlier, called the if. So if this one is less than 0, what do? Give us a 0. Give us a 0 is less than a 0, comma, give us a 0. Or if it is greater than a 0, we take that value, we multiply by the tax rate, which is here, but now we need to put a negative here. We multiply by that because we are subtracting, so put a negative. So the tax rate will be negative 375. So add the 2 of this, you get your net income. So that is a simple income statement. So once you have this simple statement, then you realize you have the constraint here. So the constraint, you are doing the budget that we need to get this is a scenario-based question because you are asking yourself that you need to earn a net of 100,000, but so for us to achieve a net of 100,000, how many units do we need to sold? For us to achieve 100,000 profit, how many units do we need to sold? That's now when we ask ourselves, what if a function? Have we learned that before? What if analysis? Najua tumefanya data table, but sijui tulifanya goal
Tumefanya
seek.
data table.
Goal seek tumefanya.
Ati?
Goal seek
Tulifanya tu data table.
or data table. Okay. So these are the constraints. Now we need to get, the first constraint is we need to get a net income here of 100,000, but we need to change the unit, giving the constant price. So what do we do? Put the cursor here, go to data, go to data, where is data? Data here. So from data, we use what is called what if. And in the what if, tuko na goal seek. So we will go to goal seek, make sure that the set cell is the net income. From there, we need this net income to meet our constraint, which we said our constraint should be 100,000. We need 100,000 by changing which cells? By changing the unit sold. By changing the unit sold. And then you click the unit sold, which is C5. Click OK. So you can see for you, that isn't this one want to calculate. If you want to remain with the value, you click OK. If you don't want, you click cancel. So we need to remain with the value, click OK. Now you can see it's very easy for you. For you to get a net income of 100,000, you need to sold 67,937 units, giving other constant variable, giving other constant variable. So you can see your cost of sales, this one also will be constant. Also the tax will change, the tax will change. So that is the first scenario. So which means for that you can get the limitation of a goal seek. Can get the limitation of a goal seek. One of the limitation of goal seek is that you only need it only allows you for one constraint. It only allow you for one constraint. Umeona hatujaweka to change the price. What about if we increase or reduce the price with this one? Will we achieve a net of 100,000? So goal seek iko na constraint. It only allow you to use one. That it has one limitation. It only allow you to use one constraint. Only allow you to use one constraint. Then, what about now? Want to introduce like we need to get the net income of 100,000, but at least we need to change the unit. The unit zetu ifai ikuwe more than 25,000. Ukiangalia hapa our units iko 67,937, which is it's so optimistic. We will not sure whether utaachieve kuuza hizo per month. So it's so optimistic. Now we want to reduce the unit the unit should not be more than 25,000, but we adjust the price per unit. We adjust the price per unit so that we can achieve this net income. So in that case, we introduce something called a solver. Introduce something called a solver. So a solver utapata your Excel kama haina mind, I think iko na, yes, I have a solver here. So kama haina, you go to the option, go to the file, and then ukienda file, go to the option. From the option, go to the add-ins. From the add-ins, you realize you click that add-ins and then click on. I'm not seeing my Excel yangu inataka not responding. So ukiclick hapo add-ins, so let's wait for this Excel to respond. Maybe that function iko so heavy. Yeah. So ikisha kuja, you will get hapa chini yangu already nimesha add, but utapata yako itakuambia hapa solver. So click that solver and then you will click go. Once you click go, you will activate. You can see here mine is already active. So you can activate, like for example, you would say activate that and activate that one and then click OK. Click OK. So if you click OK, you will find that there is a solver here in your Excel. which it is not there until mpaka uactivate. So now we want to use now this solver to solve this mathematical constraint or this constraint with more than one criteria. So nitakuja hapa, I leave my cursor there, go to the solver. From the solver, you need hizi zilikuwa tumeset already, so we can delete this, all this. Let me delete first this, all this, ndio isikuchanganye. So utakuja hapa useme your set objective is in this column, that is F11. You want that F11 to be 100,000. That is our set objective, to be 100,000. Now, 100,000 by changing which sales, so by changing the unit sold, which in this case itakuwa C5, by changing this one, by changing C5. So that is, we have already set the objective. Now, we need to put the constraint. We need to put the constraint, which utakuja hapa and say add the constraint. So the first constraint is that we need the unit, which should be, our unit should be, which is this one, the reference sales, that is C5, should not be less than or equal, should be less than or equal, should be less than or equal, ngapi? 25,000, which is C16. And then you say add another constraint here. Add another constraint. So another constraint is the price. So first you need to reference the first assumption, which is this one. That is the one. And then should be less than or equal to your constraint. Our constraint, we have set a price to be 9.99. Should not be more than 9.99. So that is our price. Then in start, you can click OK. Click OK, and you will find that you have a constraint here. If you have another constraint, you can click add, or you can click change to change the one you want to change. So once you've done that, click solver, click the solver, and you will get this kind of a scenario, and you will click OK. So let's click OK. So we can see this one, it is not changing. Maybe kuna effect with this data here. So we need to type easy data. So those are the challenges tunapata kwa Excel. Sometimes don't get the correct values. So maybe but our Excel is contaminated. So let's go back to the solver. Delete or reset everything. So once we reset everything, set our cells to be this one. Change should be this one. Ukiona hapo already ilikuwa imetupea that, but hatujapata the solution at the constraint. Our constraint should be that one, should not be less than or equal to 25. Let's tumia ya chini. Then add another one. Another one is the price, which is the cost. It should not be equal or less than. Let's use this 25. This one. Then click OK. Let's solve that problem. No, come on. So I think my Excel is not giving me that. So, but that is how to approach. So maybe you can try with your Excel. Maybe mine is not giving me this, but already they have changed this one to be 25. Only that I'm not getting the results here. So make sure that you do that way, but make sure easy usiweke
Unasema kuadd, una vipi?
The constraint,
Kuadd no kuadia
solver unaenda kwa file option. So maybe I can deactivate first young option. From the option, go to add ins. So from the add in, utapata hiyo solver itakuwa hapo. Na click. You click go in. Daraka. File option, add in. Kienda hapo kwa hiyo description hapo, unaiona solver, like ukiangalia yangu iko huko juu. But Yes, so click that solver in and then click go, utapata hapa. So ukipata hapo, tick that, tick your solver. So activate that solver. Activate, click OK. So you will be able to get that and then you will follow the same procedure. So if Excel yako ikirun vizuri, you'll be able to get 25 unit at the price of 8.21. So with the price of with the unit of 25,000 and the price of 8.21, we'll be able to give you a net profit of 100,000 without changing the other variable, that is the tax, and then yeah, maybe tax ni there's a change tax hapo equate 21, it depends on the tax rate. Remember finance, we don't assume the tax rate of 30%. We don't assume the tax rate of 30%. So share part of that, and then we can use the data table. We can use the data table, which I know you have learned it before, to get more scenarios. What about if we sold 30 units, 30,000 units? If we sold 20,000 units, what will happen? So we need now to use data tables, which we have done that one under the loan amortization. So I will copy my value here, paste in L5, and then I can copy as value so that I don't interfere with the format. Copy as values, which will be that. This one, I want to reduce by 5,000 here. This minus 5,000, which I will get 20, equals this minus 5,000. I get 15,000. So this is the quantity sold. These are the quantity sold. Also, on the other side, I want to increase by 5,000. So this plus 5,000. We said can select that Control R to copy paste the formula across. Control R. So once you have that, we need now, that is the quantity sold. We need now here the unit price per quantity. So the unit price by quantity, we can copy this, copy that, paste here as values. We said to paste something as values, we use Control Alt V zote pamoja. So unafinya Control Alt V, you will get this special table. So once you have this special table, click values and then click OK. So you'll be able to get the value. So even we can put it 8 peke yake. That, and then now here we say minus 1. Also here we say minus 1. Here we can add 1. This plus 1. Also this plus 1. So, and then we want to use our scenario analysis to see what about if we sold a unit of 15,000 at a price of 10,000, how much are we going to get? So this one you will be asking now, what is the what if analysis? So the sales department and the manager utapata at the higher rank level, unapata unaweza itwa kufanya easy analysis. So we will equate our formula here. Our formula here will be equals to this part. So you equate, that is your formula, or we refer, that is I4, we will revert to our net loss or the net income down there. Remember that net loss or net income, iko na formula. Then now we're going to use what if analysis, but the option here is the data table. The data table. So select all of this. Go to up to that part. Go to what if analysis, and then to use the table. From the table, it will ask you two questions, the raw input. So what are in our raw input is the quantity sold or the unit sold. So you will revert to your assumption, which is this is the unit sold. sold. So unit sold will be in our row input. The column input sales is the price per unit, which is this one, price per unit. So here we are using two input data variable. So hiyo unaelewa hiyo, do input data variable ni kama ile tulifanya loan amortization. So you click OK, and if you click OK, you will get your values being pasted here. You will get your values being pasted here. So you can see here, maybe this one because of rounding off. So we are not be able to get exactly 100,000, but tungetumia all the values that you could be able to get the maybe exactly 100,000. Tungetumia, remember rounding off is the key. So tungetumia all the values here. Yeah, you can see if I use all the values, you'll be able to get exactly 100,000 here. Exactly 100,000 here. So if you sell it at, yeah, that one, which if you sell the quantity of 8.2 at 25, the price of 8.2 at the unit of 25,000, you will be able to achieve 100,000 profit. If you sold 30,000 units at a cost of 6.2, you will be almost achieving that value. So with this data, you can be able to make the informed decision. With this data, you can be able to make the informed decision which price should you go with, especially if you are getting to the new market. Which price can you go with? So you can see if you go with the highest quantity, you will sell the lowest quantity and still achieve the target. So maybe 10, sell the unit 10 shilling per unit and sell 20,000 units and still past your target of 100 net of the 100,000 net of 100,000. Any question?
No.
So if you are through with that, you can go to the scenario case analysis. Which scenario case analysis? Now remember, in the scenario case analysis, we have been having the best case, the worst case, and the base scenario. So unasema, what about tukichange tukiweka in the worst case? How can we make this one? So so we need to get the revenue. And we have the revenue section and the cost scenario. So we'll be using the two. We only need to get the net income here. First, we can get the years here, which 1st of 2022. So you can see my Excel is already picking 2022 E. That E represents the estimation. Which if you want to put that one or to put in that format, ukiandika just a date here, 1/2022 /2022, utapata itakuwa in this case. So if you want to change this date in this format, what do you do? Go to the date hapa kwa numbers, go to the numbers, or if you don't want to use numbers, you need to be learning how to use the shortcut keys. If I don't want to go to the numbers here, which shortcut keys can I use?
Alt-H.
Yes?
Alt-H.
Yeah, we can choose the Alt-H. You are still learning the shortcut keys. You can use the Alt-H, which are Alt-H will be able to show you all the features here, which you will be able to see. FM is for that. Click FM, you'll be able to get this, right? But in this case, Alt-H, seem like it is the longest one. So we can put the cursor there, click Control 1, control 1, you will get this one without using Alt H. So if you click control 1, you will get that one, and then go to the customs. Make sure utapata umeiweka E. Unaona E option. Y/E. So that is the one, if you put this, be able to change in this format. That is for estimate. So now, I don't want to type in again here 2023E, 2023E. We need to remind ourselves the date manipulation. So we said we have what is called eDate function. Date function, which we normally use the eDate function. So I will come here, put equals the eDate function. This eDate function, this is my start date, comma. I want to predict for the next financial year, which is 12 months. So I will write 12 months here, close the bracket, to the enter, I will get 2023. Select that, click Control R to copy paste the formula. So we have 2022, 2023, 2024. Those are the estimates. Now we need to get the revenue here, which our revenue, we will use the best case scenarios and the worst case scenario. So I will come here, put that, expand that, and maybe we can say no field, no field. We can reduce it small, or we can delete others. Here imekuwa kubwa. So we will write the choose, or the choose scenario. So this choose scenario, I will use this key at least to show you it is a choose scenario, which I will have the scenario 1. So 1 is the best case, 1 is the best case, 2 it will be the best 3. So you can use the 1 as the best case. So in this case, we will use the function called the choose function. The choose function, use the choose function. So in this choose function, is the one which can be able to give us the best case and worst case scenario. So I will come here, put equals to choose. So it will ask me the index number. This is my index number, comma, the value 1 will be this, comma, value 2 will be this, comma, value 3 will be the worst case, and then close the bracket. Now, we said so that we don't have our sales in a move to the D, C, E, B. What do? We locked which cell?
F4.
F4, yes, we use F4, but which cells are we locking? Tuna lock gani? Which one should be constant?
C8.
C8, yes. So that if we drag our formula to D8 or D4, E4, we should have that C8 being constant. So I will put my cursor here and then press F4. But kuna keyboards zingine ukipress to automatic F4 utapata that. But if you press F4, like the like of my keyboard, I will get that locked. So Fn plus F4 and then hit the enter. So you can see the Excel will put for me the best scenario. So in the best scenario here, if it is 1, it represents that is the best scenario. So they will pick the one, which is 50,000. 50,000 is the higher revenue. So that is the best case. And then select this up to that. Control R to copy paste the formula across. Control R, they will put all that. So if I put here to the worst case scenario number 3, if I put 3, you can see the revenue will change. If I put 5, it goes, or 6, let's see what will happen. We get hashtag value because we don't have those reference here. Kiangalia in our scenarios,
So,
yes?
Year 1, and how is it linked to the best case? And
because we have used this, so the choose function, which is, it will reference to the what you have labeled here. You see, you have labeled one, best case, worst case, and the worst case, 1, 2, 3, right? So we don't have the sixth scenario here or the fifth scenario. So even if I write 50 here, I will
But
still
unajua
get.
umechoose hapo kwa revenue.
Uh-huh.
So I was wondering hapo kwa choose scenario hapo kwa hiyo choose scenario is greater than. How do you link it to the 1, 2, 3?
Easy greater than imekuwa tu kuonyesha the arrow of choose a scenario. So I've not used any formula which is greater than. So I've just written 1 here. So 1 represent our best case scenario. Then in the formula here, nimetumia choose. So I will choose, and then the first one inaniuliza the index. With the index ni number 1 hapo kwa scenario. Ukiweka 1 inamaanisha that is the best scenario. And then itakuuliza the best scenario from which range of the value. So from the best case, base case, and the worst case. So utapata hiyo formula ya choose ita select kwa hizi tatu ni gani iko best. Enter. Then ukikuja cost of sales, you use the same, equals choose function. Choose function itakuuliza the index number. The index number is still this one. We locked that FN4, comma. We need value 1, value 2, value 3. That is our scenarios. So in this case, this is our scenario 1 for the value 1, comma, value 2, comma, and value 3. Now remember with the cost, we always take the least cost. Our best case ni the least cost. So then I close the bracket, hit the enter. I will get the least cost here being the best case, which is this one. So the least cost, the best, and then drag your formula, Control R, get the net profit here by clicking Alt equal sign. Alt plus equal sign, you get the summation. So we will get a profit. So if we go to the best case scenario, you can see we will be able to get the net profit. Maybe you can get, the net profit. But if we go to the worst case scenario, so now we don't need to be just typing here again, 1, 2, 3, or what. You need to use what is called the data validation. Data validation. The data validation to get the drop down list. I know you know that. So we will put our cursor here. Go to data. And then from the data, we have these two columns. We have this sign here. So if you are using 365, you get this sign. But if you are using the normal Excel 2016, you get the data validation here. So click that drop down, go to data validation. From here, go to any value, go to the list. We put our list 1, 2, 3. That is our list, and then click OK. So each time I will pick the worst case scenario, which is 3. You can see getting a lot of losses here. If I put the base case number 2, at least this one you are getting profits. So that's how you can play with the financial forecast, the financial modeling with these scenarios. Swali. Umeshaelewa? Naona ilikuwa imekuchanganya kidogo.
Umeelewa?
So Steve, don't worry, what are we doing? We are just doing
I'm following, yeah.
Yes, you are following, yeah?
Yeah, I'm following to see.
Yeah, so we are doing the tricks of how to do the financial models with the help of this formula. Yes.
Okay.
So that is the beauty of Excel. If you know how to play with these Excel formulas, that you will realize that the work will be very easy.
Sure.
Yeah. So maybe that was the first part which Steve, you need to know. So maybe I can't excuse you. Then now we continue with the class here, data analysis.
Okay.
Yeah. So hii ni swali ya data analysis which wameulizwa sijui when. So you've been asked to compute the net present value and to carry out sensitivity analysis, assuming the adverse variance of 5% of all the input, except the project life and the work account, weighted average cost. So which you need to prepare the cash flow statement first. So once you prepare the cash flow statement, you'll be able to use your assumptions. So our assumption here, they have given us the adverse of 5% of all the input variables of all the input variable, which you can prepare here, which you can't, what you can do first, make sure to remove all these grid lines. So how do we remove all these grid lines from Excel? Click that corner up G, and then you can put the colorless or the white color, white background. So if you put that white background, you'll be able to get to Excel without those grid lines, and that you can be able to format to Excel in such a way that you can have the cash flow here, and then in this cash flow, be able to provide our assumption. So I don't know where can we provide our assumption. Maybe we can have assumption done. So isijui kama mali cash flow itafika, but you can have assumption here. Assumption here. So in this assumption, if you look at this question, we have been told all these variables will be will have an adverse of 5%. So which all these variables will have an adverse of 5%. So you copy it, paste here, can reduce the size. So which mean the adverse. So remember, this is the first one. So you need to get first the cash flow of the original, and that now for model you will have assumption which you will have adverse is a decrease. So we will decrease this one by 5%. 5%. So you will have 5% here, which is all the same for all the variable. For all the variable here. So now we can get our cash flows. So in this case, the cash flow is for, we have the initial cost, the residual value. This one will not affect our cash flows, but selling price and the variable cost and the fixed cost will affect our cash flow. And then an annual unit of 300,000 was sold, and then the project is having the useful life of 5 years, and then the company uses that one. So which means we can't have year one. So it depends how do you arrange. So we can have years here or years, which year 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah, up to 5 years. So here we can say no data. So in this case, you can have your revenue here. You can decide this revenue, be equals to the 30 units, or which is, we can have the constant variable here, the units. So we can introduce the unit sold here. Or the annual units, copy this. The annual unit, put the annual unit here, but cut this, and put the annual unit here to be 30,000. So we can have these, pointing so that we can know this assumption. So for you to get the revenue, you will get the 30,000, which that one should be fixed. So we fix that, we multiply by the cost price, which is this one is the cost price also. We fixed that, enter. So we should be able to get that, use the round off here. So that is the first cash flow for the first year. So we have been told the project has a useful life of 5 years. So remember the compute the net present value of the NPV. So this one will be your base case. So the original one. So which means we can't, that one itakuwa constant throughout because the cash flows itakuwa constant, which should be the same. So you can't copy the same. You want to use it, or you can just write 1 to 5 years. But if you want to put all of them here, can't use it. And then you will have the revenue at the cost of sales, or the cost of sales, which the cost of sales will be the number of units also multiplied by the variable cost, which is this one. But now the variable cost should be a negative. You put the negative value there, hit the enter, and that you can change these ones to be accounting side, which we go to, let's see, we can be able to put in a bracket form. Go to control 1, say control 1, you can be able to get this. And then you put in accounting perspective, anything which is a negative, you can put in this format. And then click OK. We put the separator control 1. Also need 1,000 separator. So that is okay. So if it is a negative, you should be able to get in that form. Also, which this one should be fixed. F4, fix that, and copy this one also across, which means there is something which we have not fixed. We need to fix this one also. F4. Copy the formula across. And that now for us to get the gross profit of the contribution margin, add the two. So select this and click Control R, be able to get the same. So this is our CM, or the gross profit. This could be our gross profit. So once you have your gross profit there, you have the cost of sales. Then you can less now the expenditure. Do we have the expenditure here? We have the fixed cost. So we have the fixed cost, which the fixed cost will be the same throughout, which is equal to this, and should be constant. So it should be constant. Copy to that. It should fix that. Constant, and then copy that, paste all the way, but should be negative. These are the costs. So change this one to be a negative. That is it. Copy that. Is this one up to that part. So we have all the negative there. So now once you have the variable cost and the fixed cost, you can get the net cash flow. The net cash flow, which will be this plus this, and that is our net cash flow. Select that, Control R. So you will get your net cash flow. You will get your net cash flow. So these are our net cash flows now. So do we have any other things which we can project it? The project has a useful life of 5 years, and then no, this will not be our net cash flow. This is but it is the same. Remember, if we use the depreciation, still we will get back to that, because remember, we have not been given the tax rate here. Kama tungepewa tax rate and then tungekuwa na tax saving shield, but we have not been given the tax. So even if we calculate the depreciation, we will have to add back depreciation and subtract the depreciation and come and add it back again, which will be of no use. So once you have these values, the net cash flow, you can discount now this cash flow. You copy this as Control C. You need to copy it as a values, and we need to do a transpose. How will you do it at transpose? Najua Steve hajafai fanya the transpose, but how do we do it in a transpose way? I will copy the years and do a transpose. I will copy Control C. Come here, maybe you can discount here. Control Alt plus V, Control Alt plus V, and then we need the transpose. Click the transpose and then click OK. So utapata, nimepata hapa with that transpose. So we can't move this to that. And then the cash flow here, I'll also copy this, Control C, Control C. No, Control C is not working. Control C, also copy the values, but as transpose, Control Alt V. Now in this case, I need values, but the transpose. So I will have my values there. That from there, get your present value interest factor. And this one is, because we are doing for every year, then we can get the present value interest factor, which we have been given the cost of capital is 12%. So we'll be having a 12% here. We'll be having 12% there. So that 12%, yes. Remember the formula of this. We said this one should be equals to 1 plus R raised to negative N. Raised to negative N. I don't know how to raise to negative N in the this one. But you can get the present value. For that year one. But remember, you can use the PV.
Number 6.
Yes?
Hiyo pao iko hapo kwa number 6, juu ya number 6. Kama unatumia laptop.
Iko number 6. There is this number 6.
Iko kwa number 6.
Okay, nimeiona. So we put the formula here for Excel. Are we able to get it? So we can say that is equals 1 plus 12 itakuwa 0.12, which is 1.12 raised to power 6 raised to negative 1. That is the discounting factor of that. Put the equals. Yeah, great. So we can get that one. And then, so this is the discounting factor, which you can drop down list here, but make sure replace here with 2. Replace here with 3. Replace there with 4. Place there with 5. And then from there, that is the long way, but you can combine the 2 with the one formula so that you can get your present value here. You can get your present value, which you will take. You will take this time this, the discounted value, which is this one. And then drop your formula up there. And then remember, you can copy this, Control X, put here. Always year one is our initial outlay, which will be the initial cost of 40 million. So that will be initial cost of 40 million. This is a negative. This is a negative. Put the negative that. And then if the discounting factor for 0 is 1. So So multiply this equals to this times 1 year, and then copy this, get that as a format, Control Alt V, put the format, get the summation here, sum that, get your net present value. So this is our net present value. This is our net present value. Now, this is not the present value. Remember, we have the scrap value. The scrap value, which means we will have 2 year 5. So in the scrap value, we'll have the year 5, which is the residual value of 2.5 million. So we have a residual value here of 2.5 million. Right? Yeah, equals to the 2.5 million here. That is it. And then copy this, Control C, and then you can use this one to copy the same format. Click that font painter, and then put here, you get the same, and then you will use the same discounting factor for year 5. Get the formula here, and get Alt equal sign to get the summation. That is the shortcut keys of summing. Alt equal sign, hit the enter button, and you get your net value here. The net value here. The net value here. So this is the best case. So this is base case. This is the best case. This is the best case. So now you can choose the assumption which you have been given there. So that assumption is just to increase the values here. So utapata can't have the second, you can now get the second one, but you reduce these values by 5%, which is this one, and you will see what happened to your net value. So is that something easy for you? Just to reduce this one by 5%. Everything you reduce by 5%, all the variable. So tumeambiwa all the inputs you reduce by 5%. 5%. That is for sensitivity analysis. You reduce by 5%. And then after that, you will prepare the chart to indicate the different NPV of each and every scenario. So once you have done with that, you will prepare so this, you will write here, this is the best case scenario. And then you'll have to prepare the chart so that you can differentiate. How do you prepare the chart? You select this, you can remove this, and then make sure that you label it very well, which you can select all of these, and then go to the insert recommended chart. From there, I don't know which chart can we use. I think this one is best. Yeah. So this one can present our data very well, but now we don't know what is this one is. That one 40,000. Yeah. So this one is the cash flows, and we can see here, these are the cash flows. What are these? Increase. So you will decide which chart is the best, which chart, or you can choose instead of using all the values, you can just use the net present value. So which means you will just put the net present value there, insert, and use the recommended chart here. Or you can choose this one. So that one is much more better. So you can use each and every one so that you can see the net value. So you will have a net value of a different scenarios here, so that you can arrange them so you will put another scenario here. So this one you will write here. This is the best case, and then you will have another one there for the worst case, and then you realize you can remove these grids. The grids lines come here and remove the grids lines here. So utapata maybe ingine iko hapo katikati, so you'll be able to present your results with the charts. Unless there is a question, naiomba tuache hapo. So this thing is very simple, so long as you know how to use Excel formulas and you understand the concept of your financial analysis. Wadaido ama jina imeandikwaje? Hadawa. So are you getting it?
Yes, nitakupatia swali.
Yes? Yeah, hiyo swali sijamaliza.
Nitakupatia swali.
So go to the number B. I've done question A, part A. So go to B, use that adverse of 5%, reduce every variable by 5%, and then prepare, go to up to the C, which you have to prepare the first one.
So
Go to
nitatumia hiyo swali.
Yeah, so utarudia the same. You have to prepare the first one and then go to the B and then go to the C.
Tutumia hiyo swali na notes.
Yeah, okay, so that is
The
it.
last time here.
Yes, okay. Steve, online
Yes.
naweza pata kitu ama inakimbiza sana?
I'm seeing there's a good when you present iko sawa. So I was thinking now a question now that the class that I want to enroll from November, am I going to begin from the basics tool and if you get this level?
Yeah, we'll be using the basic up to that level.
Until you come to this level.
Yeah. So we'll start with the basic exams. Up to this level, because you can't do this scenario if you are not using you don't understand Excel very well.
Yeah, so I need those basics then as we go. So I will enroll it.
Okay, thank you. So I wanted to join so
Yes,
that if other people say the online is not, they want to test
Sorry?
first. If the other people say
Sorry?
they want to do the online first,
Mm-hmm.
but I hope you have seen how it's work.
It's working well. It's working well.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, so nashukuru sana. You'll update me when it begins so that I make sure that I comply with everything.
Okay.
Alafu
Okay, thank you.
kwa hiyo data, kwa hiyo tool ya data, hiyo ni ya data iliyo
Yes.
na scenario analysis. Kwa hiyo
Okay.
data table na go something.
Your data table, it has the scenario analysis, but that one it has, but now as you understand easy basic kwanza, and then you can't put all the scenarios there. You can this one still about tutakuja of how to put the scenarios, because we have the add, so you put the scenario name, change by this, create by this. So this one also it will work, but sometime Excel unaweza kosa kupata the results, so it is good also to get how to use the manual. Ukiona kwa the first part here ile tulifanya ya solver, ulikuwa unaona tuna follow the correct procedure, but we are not getting the results, but it is working with if you have an Excel which is not haijakuwa interrupted with a lot of formulas, then it will work. So we will look at that also again. Okay, so we can't end our class up. Meet next week.